I'm an immunologist, and over the years I've had this opportunity to work with many of the scientists here. In fact, some of my students have ended up on faculty here over the years, and which have created great and very deep interactions. But the beauty of the cluster and my relationship with it is that our interests are very overlapping. And even more so is that the cluster has enormous strengths in certain areas that I think make it a very rich environment that not only is terrific for the individuals who are training here and are studying here and are doing work as scientists through the collaborations they have together, but I think the cluster, because of its great strengths, has a great deal to offer scientists around the world, such as myself. The really unique strengths of this center are number one, the real hybrid vigor, the multidisciplinary interactions that occur that not only in biology but also in physical sciences, physics, biochemistry, chemistry itself. But also what's evolved over these years are these great strengths in, like as I said, genetics and genomic medicine. That includes microbiology. It includes the abilities to not only sequence and analyze genetic material, but what's emerging now is, and I think this is another great strength of the center, is to adapt that for interpretation of human diseases. So coupling this really terrific basic science with this really outstanding clinical medicine, the cluster has emerged, I think, as an international leader in understanding complex diseases of barrier surfaces. You see it from a variety of collaborations that they have with scientists around the world, such as myself from the United States, throughout Europe, Asia. But you also see it, which is an endpoint or an extrapolation of that, is that look at the manuscripts and the papers and that they're publishing. They're publishing in the highest levels journals, both independently and in collaboration with scientists around the world. So by all metrics, that's an internationally recognized group of scientists. Through understanding biology, through a variety of different vehicles, try to take that biology and to understand how one can connect that, both understanding the pathogenesis, diagnosing and treating in a very precise way human disease. That's what they're trying to do. It's a tall order for anybody to do that. This is a global initiative, and the cluster is doing it their own unique way, with their own special sets of skills. But what's really most important, if you think about it, that personalization implies one patient at a time. Personalization is, if it's one patient at a time, it really has regional importance. And understanding what a group of patients requires in a unique manner for therapy and how that relates to the basic biologic principles that underlie the disease are going to be special to every particular region of the world. And you might actually take one step further and say that this region of Germany is actually quite lucky because the patients who uniquely have the sets of diseases that they're studying will be really tremendously benefited by the work that they're doing if you have the premise, which I think we all do around the world, that dealing with human disease requires precise person-by-person adaptations of clinical care. So I think that there's many attributes of this group that's not only good for the scientific community at large, but the local community here where care is actually delivered to the patients. Well, I have several very robust collaborations right now, and we had some vigorous discussions about those, and equally vigorous discussions with the scientists in areas that I did not know before I came. So if you ask me if I learned something, I learned a great deal these last 10 hours.